Ah, yes, life in Canada. Kind of like a little mini storm going on out there. Lots of wind today. And that's the Grotto One weather report. So in my other video there, I think it was part 29, I was showing you guys this jig that I made to hold the spindle in place. And I didn't spend a lot of time on that, so today I want to get a little more in depth on that. So I want another spindle that looks like that, except for the right side. So I got the components for it here. So I got the spindle there and the jig. So I'm gonna just assemble this for you guys, and then we'll put that angle finder on there and see what we come up with. So I got a new ground clamp for the welder. It's like a two-hander. If I would clamp this right on your face, you probably wouldn't like it. Contact. Ignition. So kind of on the list of things to do yet is I'd actually like to do a multi-part video series on suspension geometry, you know, different terms and what they do and how it relates to the handling and stuff. But right now what we're looking at is my fancy jig all set up. So the top of my spindle assembly here is kind of leaning off to the left, and it's kind of simulating the caster that's on the machine itself. So I'm just putting some angle in this just to help line up with the brackets, you know, on the machine. And I've got my angle finder on it there just to see where it's at. And I also put the angle finder on this side here just to verify that that's where I wanted to have it set up. So yeah, and you can see there's a little nut right down underneath there. So all three corners have a little bit of adjustability in it. So I'm going to set this up by the machine now and start getting some brackets ready. So I whipped up some brackets here, and I made that out of that flat bar off to the right there. And I've got the jig in position here holding the spindle, and I've got the A-arms in position, and I've got them actually hyperextended way past where the limit strap would normally let it go, but this is my starting point for the brackets. And I got the arms nice and parallel with this digital protractor. I really like that thing. And so actually, okay, so I'm gonna set up the brackets in there now. I'm just going to show you how it all fits. So right now, the way I'm setting up the brackets and stuff, I've got these rod ends actually completely maxed out for angle. But the thing is, the suspension will never actually go here because the limit strap will keep it far away from this kind of an angle. So I know that these rod ends will never bind from the suspension extending. And the same thing when the suspension completely compresses or bottoms out, I've got a few inches of free play there also to keep it from binding in that end. So now I can start tacking it together, and then I'll fill in the corners and stuff and give it some bracing, and then trim it down and make it look like I got it set up on the other side. So fast forward, and this is what I ended up with. So right now I'm getting ready to cut the ends off. You can see a black line right here, and this is the top. So once I got the end cut off, then I want to weld in a cap and smooth it off nice like I did on the left side. So that's the material I'm using for that. Same thing on the braces in the corners. So I'll just cut, like, you know, little pieces to fit, you know, and then weld them in there. So with the exception of that stub with the bearing on it, the rest of that material is all pretty common. The square stock, and so I use this for making the brackets, and then the thinner stuff for bracing the corners and stuff. And the tools too, I mean, it's just you know, basic stuff. My grinder, sometimes I had a cutting disc on there, my chop saw. This is pretty handy for getting rid of the spatter and stuff from the welding, little lumps here and there. So yeah, that's about it. But thanks for coming by and checking this stuff out. Oh, so one more thing, I just put that cap on. It's still hot. I figured I'd throw that in at the end of the video here yet.